Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machan Le'Ra online smicha. With the crazy price of eggs today, hopefully it will come down soon, I want to discuss a shaila that I saw in Svarim. And the shaila is, somebody was in the middle of baking a cake or making a dish, and he needed some more eggs. So he went to the neighbor and asked if he could get a couple of eggs. He shortened some eggs for the cake. All right, neighbor graciously gave him, let's say, 6 to 8 eggs. And sure enough, when he cracks the egg open, 1 or 2 of them have blood spots in them. And we know that in Shulchan Aruch it says, in Yeridei Siman Samach Vav, Siv Gimel, it says, today's days, even though not everywhere, if you find a blood spot in the egg, renders the egg treif, renders the egg not kosher. But today's day, every time we find a blood spot in the egg, we throw that egg out. So here he got 6 eggs from a friend, from a neighbor, and some of them had blood spots, so he had to throw them away. So the question becomes, again, it's only relevant today's days when the price of eggs are so high, does he have to give him back 6 eggs? Or could he give him back 4 or 5, because 2 of them he couldn't use, they had blood spots. So in Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Reish Lamed Beis, Sif Yutes, in Choshen Mishpat, it says, Hamoicher beitzim lachaveri, one who sells eggs, and it ended up that some of the eggs were not edible. Not edible. You have an egg store, you have a grocery, you're selling eggs, and some of the eggs were not edible because it grew things inside there. They're not regular eggs. So the din is, it's a mekach tos, it's a canceled sale, and you go back to the storekeeper, and the storekeeper has to give you back your money. However, the Shulchan Aruch says, achshav lo yinagu kain, today's days, the custom is not that way, uminig mevatel halacha, and the minig overrides the halacha, meaning to say that even though that min hadin, the sale is canceled and you deserve your money back because you sold me an egg that I can't use, nevertheless, the custom is that you keep the sale. It is what it is. It's a chance, the risk that you took, and the buyer lost the money for whatever he paid for the eggs. If, however, and even if he didn't pay yet for the eggs, he should pay for the egg, even though he couldn't end up using them. That's what the halacha says, again, in Siman Reish Lamed Beis, Sif Yutes. So, Sif Yutes. If so, in this case too, when you took a loan, you borrowed from your friend, from your neighbor, eggs, even though some of the eggs were not usable for you because there was a blood spot, still, the minig is that you pay back whatever amount of eggs you got. That is a clear din of Shulchan Aruch. Rav Yoshev paskin that the minig is only when the minig is that way only when Shimon was a storekeeper who was selling eggs, and so he sold you an egg with a blood spot. Then the minig is that you pay him for it. Why? Because the guy selling eggs is not only selling to Jews, so. But the fact that you threw out the egg, if you would have returned it, he still could have sold it. Because there are other customers who would have bought the egg. And therefore, for him, it's a business. And you're not giving him back an egg to sell, you have to pay him for it. However, if it's not talking about a person who's selling eggs, if it's a neighbor that just gave you to use and he's expecting eggs back, because the neighbor, for the neighbor himself, he too couldn't use that egg, because the Jewish neighbor also doesn't eat an egg that has a blood spot, then the minig is not necessarily that you have to pay him for the egg that couldn't use, because just like it wasn't usable for you, it's not usable for him too. So you didn't really make him a loss of something that he could have used. And that's why, according to Rabbi Yoshev, if you got an egg that way from a store, you would have to pay. You would have to suck it up and just pay for whatever amount of eggs you bought. If, however, you used from a neighbor, the minig is not necessarily you have to pay him for that.